To order. Good evening, everyone. Everyone, I said. Thank you for coming. This is a meeting of the Lakeville Conservation Commission. It is June 13th, I believe.
That's correct.
All right, and we are being recorded. So first on the agenda.
Taking names.
Oh, no, first, we need to identify members of the commission. So starting...
John LeBlanc.
Joshua Faraday.
Bob Bouchard, Chairman.
Mark Knox.
Joseph Chamberlain.
Nancy Yates.
That's better. Thank you. All right, first on the list is 310 Kenneth Welch Drive. This is a notice of intent, and due to the recommendation of the applicant, this is going to be continued to our next meeting.
I'll make a motion to continue the 310 Kenneth Welch public hearing until July 11th at 7 p.m.
That's correct, yes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Next on the agenda, 308 Kenneth Welch Drive. This is a little different. This is an amended order of conditions, so we don't see that too often. Brought by Zenith, and I will read the legal notice. According to the provisions of Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Wetlands Protection Act, there will be a hearing on an amended notice of intent submitted by CSSI LLC for the installation of a new 2,500-gallon H20 monolithic tight tank in the same location as the original tank location, and to eliminate the new septic leaching field as previously approved within 100 feet of the bordering vegetated wetland. Location of the project is 308 Kenneth Welch Drive, Lakeville, map 61, block 2, lot 3A. Public hearing will be on Tuesday, June 13th at 7 p.m.
I'm going to recuse myself from this and sit in the audience. I'm in a butter.
That's correct. Okay, thank you. Whenever you're ready.
Good evening. For the record, now Zager from Zenith Consulting Engineers. So this was before the commission, probably a couple months ago, and it was going to be a septic repair. We had received approval from the commission to do so. After I got approval, my client brought it upon themselves to get a few prices, and weren't happy with the prices. Spoke with the Board of Health and asked if they could do a tight tank. The Board of Health then said yes, as long as you get us an updated plan showing that. So I confirmed that with the Board of Health agent Ed Cullen, and that's what you see reflected before you. So essentially, nothing has changed as far as the building of work. Everything is exactly the same. The proposal now is to have a new tight tank in place of the old septic tank location, and they are going to abandon the existing failed septic field, which is located in the front of the building over here. That was always the approval before, was going to end up having to either be abandoned, whatever wasn't removed, or it was going to be removed in order to get the part of the septic system in that needed to be done. But that is completely abandoned now. That will just be left as is. And the force main with the pump chamber has been eliminated as well. All we're proposing now is just a 2,500-gallon tight tank, like I said, that has been approved by the Board of Health. So limited work hasn't changed. Basically everything is exactly the same as far as that goes. Just actually less work within the buffer zone. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that the commission has.
Just out of curiosity, why wasn't it considered in the first go around?
To be honest with you, I can't answer that question.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Yeah, I just can't. I would have wished that they would have looked into this beforehand, but it's not. I only do what they ask, so.
There you go. Thank you.
Any more paved area?
No, no. It's going to be within the existing lawn area. No, it's a good question. It's a good question. It's been kept inside the, I don't want to call it lawn, but it's a kind of gravelish, it's a vegetated area. That will be, dug up and then replaced in the same.
Approved by the Board of Health?
Yes.
And as you know, parking is an issue with these locations. Do you expect any additional impacts from employee parking as a result?
So the reason for this,
Parking explains the world.
so this site, there is actually only one employee, according to, and the few times that I've been there, there's actually only one employee inside the building. And that was part of the reason why I think the cost analysis was done. Unfortunately, it was done after the fact, but they kind of did an analysis financially and said, it doesn't make sense for us to spend all this money on a septic system that's never going to be used. There's very little use. They have, I guess, seasonal employees there once a year for different things. I don't even know exactly what it is. But from what I'm told, at most, there's usually about, at the most, even seasonal, 10 employees. So this is way over designed even as is. So I think that was part of the reason.
Okay.
But as far as parking goes, I think the use is exactly the same. The trucking will be exactly the same. There'll be, from what I could tell anyway, that was there's very little impact to parking on this site.
Mr.
Good.
How about like depth to groundwater? Do you need some kind of a little spot to dewater, like a dewatering?
So I do have a dewatering basin detail. I don't know if I necessarily showed a location for
Is
it.
that little teeny square right there?
Did I show that?
It's right next to the building?
No, I think that's actually a transformer.
Oh, great.
But yeah, no, I mean, they would probably just do it like right over here.
Oh, you got the detail.
I have the detail there, yeah, I mean, will it be necessary? Probably.
It is pretty close to, I just like wonder with the depth to groundwater, you're gonna hit the groundwater. if it's-
Well, there's definitely, we're proposing a monolithic H20 tank,
Okay,
just due to the water table, so we wanted to ensure that there weren't gonna be any issues with that.
okay,
There may be some water table that needs to be, there might have to be some pumping.
okay.
But again, it's a 2,500 gallon tank, we're not talking about a full leaching field, so it isn't gonna be
Okay.
as significant, but yes,
Okay.
it is definitely a concern.
But you got the detail on here if you need it.
Yes, we do.
And Bob.
Any other comments or questions? We're all good?
Okay?
Okay.
Ready? All right, so close the hearing on SE 192-889, 308 Kenneth Welch Drive. Issue an amended order of conditions which will basically remain the same as far as the Lakeville standard conditions go, with the plan of record dated 5/16/23 to be noted. Sometimes when there's too many plans drifting around. And Bob will be notified if dewatering is necessary, or if it's necessary to put in a dewatering pit. You'll notify Bob, please,
And no change in file number, right?
and no change in file number.
Actually, go
I'll
ahead.
second that.
We have a motion and a second, a discussion. Were there any other numbers ever used other than 310 and 308 for this location?
Not that I'm aware
There
of.
was some issue finding the file for it. No?
Well,
Not that I'm aware of.
that's also on here, that the other one, it was all 310 at one point.
Right.
And that's in here also, on the original order of conditions, and it will stay that they both need to be closed out. There's still an open one that needs to be closed out from 310. So, see attached, and coexisting order of conditions needs to be closed out. That will remain.
Right.
Well, but I think I covered that when I said all the,
All the others, yeah. Okay, so we had a motion and a second. In the discussion, no more? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Next on the agenda is 3 Apple House Road. This is also a notice of intent and a septic upgrade by Zenith, and I will read the According to the provisions of Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Wetlands Protection Act, there will be a hearing on notice of intent submitted by Allison Lynch for the construction of a septic system with a new 1,500-gallon septic tank and a 220-foot of Presby pipe in the new field configuration within 100 feet of a bordering vegetated wetland. Also included in this removal are decommission of the existing septic system on site. Location of the project is 3 Apple House Road, Lakeville, map 33, block 6, lot 3. Public will be hearing will be on Tuesday, June 13th at 7 p.m. Hello again.
Good evening. For the record, again, Niles Jacob from Zenith Consulting Engineers. Before you, we have a septic repair. As you can see, it's fairly tight, especially when you factor in where the well is located and you have the 100-foot radius to that well. That's shown in the roughly reddish color here. This basically encompasses the majority of the site. And then you have the 50 feet from the wetland, which is located in the rear of the property here. Basically what we're doing is we're almost replacing in place where the old septic system is. That's where the existing system is roughly. The plumbing comes out there. We were able to keep it over 50 feet away with the leaching field, but we were not able to keep 50 feet away with the limit of work just because of the tree clearing and the being able to grade it. So we are about 45 feet or so with the limit of work to the BVW. And it's just a small little bit of clearing that's required in order to get that in. We are proposing what's called a Presby system that reduces the footprint from your conventional septic system to try to limit that, disturbance. We're also proposing a liner in order to try to prevent any grading beyond any further than necessary on the downhill slope here. We're proposing a silt sock at the limit of work, and we also on this one there was really no water table concern, so we didn't show a dewatering basin. We're pretty high up on the hill. We actually able to get this septic system in gravity with no pump system, so there's no water table issue per se. It's just the limit of the wetland. We're significantly higher than the wetland. We're probably about 10 feet higher than the wetland elevation or so. So we're pretty far up there. I think that's really about it. If you happen to answer any questions that you have. And I should have mentioned that this, I believe, was also approved by the Board of Health.
And then vent pipe is up 4 feet.
So the vent pipe's actually 10 feet higher than the low vent. The low vent's 3 feet, and then the high vent there has to be a 10-foot differential between the low vent and the high vent to be able to get that venting differential that they want.
Presby's use a lot of electricity, do they?
No, there's no electricity.
No electricity involved, okay.
It's a gravity-fed system.
Okay.
This has no pump or anything, so this is as standard as it gets. And we're keeping it as close. So luckily, the one good thing that we had going for us here is that this is on the garage side, which only requires 10-foot separation to a slab. So we were able to keep it a little bit closer to the home and essentially keep it a little bit further away from that BVW. So that was a little bit of a benefit by where we put it as well.
Good thing you don't have a lot of room to maneuver.
There's not a lot of room.
How many trees do you think you'll have to take out?
There's not much. I mean, there's nothing large. It's all more like scrub brush. It's nothing significant.
I thought I saw one good-sized pine, but...
Yeah, I think those are a little bit further back.
Yeah, okay. And in an operation like this, what kind of time are we taking, are we looking at?
I would say, it depends on the contractor, but typically, usually like about a week or so, especially with the tree clearing. By the time they get the trees cleared, get the open hole dug, and get the site prepped, get the installation performed, have all your inspections in place between our firm as well as the Board of Health, and then get it backfilled. I would say probably about a week or so. I've seen it done quicker, seen it take longer. But in general, this is a fairly simple one. There's no pump system, so they're not waiting on electricity for our electricians, and there's no re-plumbing inside, so you don't have to wait for a plumber. So a lot of that, helps speed up the process.
Is it a raised system?
No.
Is it lifted?
No.
It's all a
No,
grade?
it's basically in the ground.
It's just on the downhill side, it's,
It's kind of steep.
That's correct. That's why we put that liner there, was the beach, because of the breakout. If we didn't put that liner there, that 15-foot breakout that would be required would have basically encroached into,
Right.
we would have been way further downhill, probably wouldn't have been able to catch it up. So that's why that's proposed the way it is. That helped us limit that limit work.
Do you know who did the wetland flagging?
We did.
You
It's
did
right
yourself?
at the bottom slope. It's
Yeah.
very, very, very simple.
All right.
It's very clear.
For some reason, thought you brought someone else in. All right, okay, go
one other
ahead.
question. You had said most of the clearing that they do is with brush, nothing big, so there'd be no reason to ask to do the tree clearing prior to silt fence?
Not that I'm aware of, no. Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Sometimes you have to cut big trees. It makes sense to wait till they're gone because you just destroy it.
Of course.
But if that's not the case, then good. I'm good.
Okay. Anyone else? No? All right, do we have a motion?
Do you have DEP number?
E95,
Is it there? Say again?
895.
They've been slow in coming lately.
Yeah, we've been on a little bit of a hold for a few months too.
Okay, so I make a motion to close the hearing. 3 Apple House Road, file number SE 192-895. Issue a standard order of conditions, our standard order of conditions.
That's it?
That's it?
Okay.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Thank you,
You
too.
too.
All caught up? All right, next on the agenda then, we have 311 Pond Lane, another notice of intent for a septic upgrade, and this is done by Foresight Engineering, and I will read the notice. Pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, the Wetlands Protection Act, Lakeville Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on June 13th, 2023, at 7 p.m. at the Lakeville Council of Aging, 1 Deer Crossing, Lakeville, for a notice of intent filing. The applicant, Sapersky Family Investment Trust, is proposing the construction of a small addition with attached garage to the existing dwelling, upgrading the septic system with a septic tank, pump tank, and associated grading the site work within the buffer zone of an existing wetland resource area. Project is located on 311 Pond Lane, and it's also known as Assessor's Map 047, Block 003, and Lot 003.
Green?
You're on.
Darren Michaelis from Foresight Engineering. We have an existing dwelling, with an existing cesspool, where we're proposing our tanks to go. So cesspool will be pumped and filled in with sand. It's probably 99% in the water table, if not completely in the water table. So the tanks will be in the groundwater. We do show a dewatering pit outside the 100-foot buffer in the tree area. Deep into the property, to the north of the property, is kind of an existing drainage swale there, so that's where the overflow will go from the watering basin. The proposed addition is within the buffer zone. That'll have a footing, and it's a 2-story addition with a master suite above, and a 2-car garage on the first floor with a sunroom. All the work is outside the 50-foot setback. The erosion barrier shown from the existing deck to the property line, and existing deck to the property line on the other side. We were able to keep the entire septic system outside of 100 feet. Even though we did do that, we're still proposing a fast system to shrink the size of the leach field because of the poor soils in that area. Otherwise, this leach field would be 2.5 times the size of the leach, so the entire front yard would be 4 feet higher than it is right now. So by doing that, we were able to squeeze it in that corner with retaining walls. We do have Board of Health approval. This is, like I said, a family investment trust. He's gonna hand it down to his daughter, so this is a lifetime system. Any system that's gonna go in here in the future will go exactly in the same spot more than likely. So we know where else to go on the property. Happy to answer any questions. I believe the only thing we are missing is a DEP number due to a missed fee amount of $12.50. It's been mailed out last week, so I understand if you have to continue it for that reason. I don't believe they're in a super rush, but we do have our natural heritage letter and everything else in place, and Board of Health approval.
Questions? There was a well on site.
Yes,
Do you know if they're going to continue using that?
yes.
Right.
So the only other source of water would be the community well.
And is
So
that
until
still
they have
hooked
an
up?
issue with that well, they plan on keeping that well.
Okay.
Because that would require a water line be run down that main road all the way to their house.
That's why I asked.
Is that located on here? Oh, is this,
Yep,
yeah, I
from the
got it.
northwest corner. So they have room there too to also put in a new well if they needed to, due to everyone's putting their septic out front. So we have areas too to, if we have to upgrade that well in the future, we can.
Is there a foundation going under this? Or
Yes,
just,
there'll be a footing.
just a
No
frost?
basement, yes, no.
A frost wall?
Yeah, just a frost
I
wall.
got you.
Water table is about 4 feet, so that'll pretty much be the footing level. You're right on top of the water table, I would guess.
And that existing shed's gonna be moved, right?
They'll probably just take it down.
Take it down.
Yeah, it's an original shed there, so. So we'll cut the driveway to get that force main right there, then they'll just repave the driveway area right there. And that tree will come down too, that big tree, it's a kind
Yep,
of a
it
hazard
is.
anyway,
Yep.
it's a pretty large tree right between the houses.
They're gonna be able to get to their ramp anymore?
They never could anyway,
Never
so.
could?
It's more of, you can wheel up from the shore and
I
that's
got
about it. I don't know how they ever got to that.
But you noted the ramp on the plan anyway, right?
Right, show it on there, it's there,
It's there.
It's a concrete.
Yep.
Your deep watering is in a circle.
Yes.
That's different. Double hay bales in a ring.
Yep, we'll do double hay bales in the ring, and then basically they'll put some stone around the end of the pipe and they put it down in the ground, so it's feeding into the stone, and then we'll overflow, and just make sure it heads towards that square. And there's probably about 5 or 6 trees in the front there that gotta come down, and they're pretty good size too.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I know there was, mainly with the garages, there's bushes, but there's 2 trees that are within 10 feet of that foundation, so those will definitely come down, and then the one over by the tanks. We could have up to 4 trees, but the ones out front will be outside the buffer zone, so we just make sure that nothing will be stored on site either, there's nowhere to store anything here, so anything that's excavated is gonna be trucked off site, so there'll be no stockpiling. The dewatering, the tank should go in one day pretty much. They should be dewatering for 1 day for those tanks, so we'll make sure you get notified the day before. You can inspect the silt fence and the hay bale barrier. And
No
after
pumping, I
that, I wouldn't foresee any dewatering being needed.
was going to say, no pumping in or out of the pond.
Yes.
You'd be surprised. Or maybe you would.
I wouldn't. I've seen the
You've
black
seen it,
pipes.
yeah. Yes.
Darren, on the south side of the dwelling,
Yep.
you show erosion control coming off of the deck and
Yep.
kind of going over to the property line. It may be intended, but it's kind of hard to tell if it goes up the property line, but it certainly should.
It's right to the fence. Yeah, there's a vinyl fence right there. So it'll go right up against the vinyl fence.
So you'll use the vinyl fence as
As
erosion
our
control
barrier,
for the rest of the
Yeah,
way?
because that's buried almost right there. The bottom of that fence is in the grass line. And they shouldn't really be down that far. I'm guessing that their machine is gonna sit kind of where the pump tank is. They're gonna get the septic tank set, and then he's gonna back up the hill and put the pump tank in, and then he'll start digging that force main and work his way right up. So I don't even foresee the machine being down that far, I just try to give them enough room there in case they have to park on that side.
Yep.
But I don't think they'd want to drive over that hole, so. That might come up to the front corner of the deck and go across, but it'll go right to the property line, because that's a nice solid fence there.
Any other comments?
Good?
We're all good?
All right, I make a motion that we close the hearing and issue an order of conditions not before the DEP number is received.
Yep.
And it will be our standard order of conditions, with one extra little piece of no pumping in or out of the pond.
Very good.
That's good.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion? None, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, have a great night.
Thanks, you too.
You wanna keep them simpler there and
They don't give me simple ones.
Let's play on there.
Like an update on that, the violation there?
Parking situation, yes. There's not much new, I guess.
well, they moved the line way back, they really moved it way back away from the well and flag. They were parking on top of the well and flag almost, so they've
They've-
cordoned
Minimal
off that
barrier is
whole
100
large
feet
area.
away.
Yeah,
So none of the parking is being done in the
Yep.
buffer zone.
yep.
Yeah, and the parking lines are starting to get a little out of line, but
There's also not a lot of cars being parked there.
last count, there's still a dozen cars parked on Kenneth Welch Drive on a daily basis. But there is a memorandum of understanding, I believe, that they will be putting up a wood fence,
Some put up a guardrail.
a guardrail, excuse me.
So they're gonna reloam and see that edge, and protect it with a guardrail from future parking.
Guardrails sit up off the ground now.
We can specify.
What
you.
about it?
Well, yeah, but
The guardrail's gonna be this far from the edge of pavement, so cars can't park.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah,
got
can't fit under it
All
either.
right, okay.
watch everyone show up with motorcycles.
That hasn't happened yet.
How are they trucking people from there to,
Shuttle buses.
are they?
So there's two conditions that I put on this motion. One is that they continue with the either a notice of intent or an NRAD for the property. And Prime Engineering is supposed to be preparing that. We gave them 30 days to finish the work, but we haven't heard anything yet. The other is that they give us a remediation plan for the parking that's going on in the paved area, or the quasi-paved area. What are they going to do to remediate that? They're not just going to let all that
Just sit.
So we need a plan from them.
How they're gonna fix it.
And approval of the NOI will be pending receipt of the plan.
And again, all the work you just mentioned is at 160 Bedford.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, thanks for, yeah. So even though there's some overlap in jurisdiction on the properties, I think we're moving in the right direction to
So-
be finally resolved.
What did they dump there? Melons, asphalt melons?
Yeah. Yeah. For refined stuff, not big chunks.
Yeah, still got,
It's still,
it's
but,
still a petroleum product,
yeah,
right?
but you get good and bad like anything else.
Yes.
You know.
I remember that plan that I copied from the woman and dropped off
Is
to
it
you,
more than
but
one?
they,
Yeah.
It's on one
the
there.
property line and the
No,
wetland
it's not one,
flags
the top one.
on their side of the property or her side of the
Well,
property?
I've got another one of the same area that's a little different.
I don't know what
So
you're
next time you come into the office, I'll show it to you.
All right, I'm just saying they should reflag it, but not if
Oh, yeah,
somebody else.
It's being reflagged now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, it's
By-
part of the prime.
By Prime itself or by wetlands? All right.
You have to see it.
So that parking lot's not part of the train
did?
station.
You did not.
Okay.
It is part of the property,
Do not want
right?
to.
You're right.
It's the same property, but two people are using it now.
Yes.
And then what's that other building to the right of the train station.
How come
The
no one
the
signed
old
it?
garage that they're
Property,
rebuilding.
different owner
Oh, okay.
altogether.
Okay. And that was part of that subdivision originally.
Yeah, that fell through, and I don't know what its current status is.
They did a nice job on the old barn there.
Yeah, it is.
So we
Right.
don't need to take any voting action, we're just giving an update.
No, just an update. And it's going to be, well, I'll get back to that in a second. So any other questions or comments on 160? All right, bylaw. Nancy, you want to talk about that?
I didn't know it was on the agenda. I mean, I did.
I thought you
got
put
the
it on.
agenda, but, huh?
I thought you put it on.
No. I mean, I've been talking about it, but I haven't put it on since a lot of the stuff about the 25 no touch, the NOI for the septic systems. I'm thinking that over the summer, I had talked to the town planner about working on a really small wetland bylaw. Seeing as I personally have had a lot of experience with putting one on that was overkill, because that was what was recommended by MACC, and it was how many pages long. So, and I think it's twice I put a wetland bylaw on there, and it got killed. So I think we need something just small and basic, and that covers a few little things that,
Is that something we'll hash out, right?
yeah,
Yes.
no,
Yeah.
definitely.
The
Yeah.
the first go-through, we tried borrowing it from other towns of similar size.
Lakeville isn't like any other town.
Exactly, we found that out.
Everybody's affected. Lakeville has so many
So many,
resources
yeah.
that, like, almost every person either has is near the water or is near a wetland. So, of course, you know, you have, I won't mention any names, someone stand up and nobody's gonna tell me what to do on my property kind of a thing, and then, so, but I think we need to protect our resources that we have left. And I think for almost 10 years, Bob, we had the
Oh, yeah.
25 no touch
For the
zone,
longest.
and it just worked so very
It did.
nicely.
It did.
Except there was never a barn.
Nobody questioned it. Well, if it was really a hardship or something, we could always say, you know,
And some engineers are still maintaining it.
They
Just-
are.
Just informational.
Automatic.
Da-
And that, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Darren just did a 35. He had it on there, 35 no touch. I don't know if it was a typo or not, but, you know, a lot of them are still doing it.
Well, voluntarily, that's fine,
And
but we can't enforce something that doesn't
Nancy's
exist.
talking about water resources. We think we're water rich. 2 weeks ago, the no watering your lawns thing, edict, was already popping up. We're not even into summer officially.
Did you read
It's already-
the Arizona
Yeah,
groundwater?
Those two there. And you saw the ruling from the Supreme Court, you know, this, from time to time, we get involved with the Army Corps of Engineers. Not anymore, I guess. So if you have a pipe that's want to get rid of a lot of chemicals, I guess you can put it into the water now. Just as long as it's not hooked up to a navigable body of water.
And we have a different demographic in Lakeville. I think that maybe at this time, it would be a good time to do small, just basic thing that people would have a hard time finding a problem with. And in the future, if something comes up and we need to add one or two more things to it, we
It'll be interesting to see, because so far the bylaws have been resoundingly defeated.
This second thing that I had copied, how would you like to live in Phoenix?
Oh,
No way.
No,
they've
can't live in.
they've given out permits for more than they can handle.
More than hell.
Yeah, not good.
It's not there. I have traveled in areas in this country with a motorhome where you run across areas with big signs. There is no water here. Tens of thousands of acres. There's nothing there because there's no water. And I mean, there's no water. Even in places where, I asked this question of people, places out where there used to be a lot of water, where you could drill, 500 feet and get water. You know what they're drilling now to get water?
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Maybe guess.
It's in the thousands.
Thousands of.
Perfect place for a solar farm.
But John, back to the bylaw, I really think that it was too complicated.
Yep.
I mean, I was having a hard time
If people don't
understanding it. It
understand
was
it,
the
they
model.
won't-
They
they
gave
won't
us the
vote-
model
yeah.
and said, this is what you should do.
They won't vote
And it
for it.
was
Yeah,
just
it's like-
way, well, you know what the model looks like,
There-
Josh.
there-
Oh, it's overkill,
Right.
for sure.
It
There were
was
4
overkill.
pages of definitions alone.
So like I say, let's try again. And there's a few simple things that we're like already doing.
Let's just hash it out.
And on that topic,
We don't,
we've gotten the go-ahead to develop policies. We don't need town council to authorize it or anything. I spoke to Nate, and he said, no, you can make
A policy.
policy that says no one uses a copier for more than 10 copies. That's a policy. We don't need,
well, that's a little different, because you're just dealing with the employees there.
Right.
That's a little different than
Well,
But you get the
requiring
idea.
an NOI for every septic going forward.
Mhm.
That's dealing with the public. That's a whole different story. So I don't know that I necessarily agree with Nate there, but,
I think you
I
can.
mean, it should be easy enough to find out.
Yeah, well, he's going to take, once we know what we're going to do, he's going to take it up.
I'm pretty confident we can make a policy, but it's not definitive. If somebody wants to appeal it, they go to DEP. If DEP says, oh, you can go ahead and do it.
And it says it,
But
it
that's
says it in the
another
regs.
step they don't necessarily want to do, so they'll comply. Who wants to hold up the
I'll tell you
project?
what, I will do my own research before the next,
Okay, all
Good.
right,
I get 2 months, so.
all right. And how about I'll work on some kind of a draft and bring it back to the board. Is that acceptable
Absolutely.
to everybody?
Yep.
Does anyone want input into the bylaws?
Go see what you come up with.
Right, I'll just
yeah.
do a draft.
should.
Just for the sake of this discussion,
Yeah,
I think that if it can be drafted and it's, we'll call it legal, I think that whatever bylaw we enact should be applicable on new construction undisturbed soil. And it shouldn't apply the same on people with existing. I think that's, if you want to get something to pass,
Yeah.
Well, you'd have a hard time to go back and tell somebody
Yeah,
that,
you can't.
for instance, my swimming
it's a
pool is
septic
within
upgrade.
25 feet of the lake.
so you're
Yeah.
pre-existing non-conforming. But I don't think that you can tell somebody, you had a septic system within so many feet of the pond, and you need to replace it now. Just tear it all down, make it a parking lot, make it woods again, you gotta leave.
Yeah,
Because we're not gonna let you. I think that there needs to be some leniency on existing as opposed to new.
yeah, but if you're just saying all septic systems, even an upgrade needs an NOI, that's all we're saying. I mean, that's
No,
what
you
I
said
think.
bylaw.
yeah, we're talking about the bylaw.
Yeah, I'm talking about the bylaw. You can say that we'd like to see a notice of intent on all systems, even if it's an upgrade or if it's,
Is that what the whole bylaw is gonna say? That's the whole content of it?
Yeah.
That's it?
yeah.
Oh, no,
No, like 25.
You said yes, you said yes,
No,
that's
no,
it.
no.
No,
Come on, that piece.
You guys got that, right?
You're on
You
tape.
got it?
That piece of it would say that. Another piece would
But-
say, we'd like to see 25-foot no touch on the wetlands.
I think
And
we better
then
quit while we're
maybe a
ahead.
couple of other simple things. I don't know. Josh, help.
So, Wareham has had their bylaw, and just recently, but, since the bylaw has been established, they've added the 30-foot no disturb zone. Anything prior to that, we don't go back and enforce.
Right,
If
it's all
they
new
had a
construction
swimming
going
pool
forward.
with, it's
Yeah.
new construction moving forward.
But
if
let
you
me
have-
ask you something. So that bylaw was voted on by the town,
Correct.
and the changes you made to the bylaw have been voted through by the town?
Well, that's where it gets interesting, because, Falmouth, for instance, has the ability, as long as they discuss proposed changes in a public forum, and then it's voted
If
on
it's-
by the commission,
if
they
it's
can change
written-
their bylaw.
If it's written into the bylaw when the town votes on it,
That the-
that the Conservation Commission has the ability to amend it
Yeah.
at a public hearing,
Okay.
it no longer requires a town vote.
Okay,
Right.
so
So
my only issue is that I don't want this committee, including me, to push to bypass things that should be voted on by the residents of the town. That's all.
Well, a bylaw, period, you just make up a bylaw. That would have to go to.
Right, so a bylaw, now we've had two that have been defeated, and we're gonna keep putting them on and on and on until we get something?
But no,
I mean-
it hasn't been one on for years. It hasn't been one on for years. And just because it didn't happen, just because we didn't protect what we were trying to protect then,
Yeah.
doesn't mean we shouldn't try again.
No,
How many
I
times was CPA on there?
don't necessarily disagree with you, but
Okay.
I don't wanna supersede that by saying You know, and that's part of my reason for standing pat on the NOI on septics, because I just want to make sure we have the authority to do it. That's all.
Right,
fair.
well,
I don't-
condition.
you know,
The
there's-
thing about an NOI is you can condition it. With the RDA, you can maybe.
No, I understand
Okay,
the
all right,
thinking,
all right.
and I don't necessarily disagree with it.
All
I
right.
just want to make sure we have the authority to make that call.
Oh, no, I'm just asking.
Everybody thinks we do, but nobody's done the research or talked to town council to get an opinion. So,
There's a few MACC trainings.
I understand.
And not for years, but you.
She did
whatever-
sleep at a Motel 8.
right,
That'll do it.
But the thing is, you can basically, as this commission can vote on doing things, if people don't like it, there are recourses to go to DEP, and then DEP probably will say, go ahead and do it,
We just don't want to get
you know?
recalled.
But, I mean, just trying to hold on. And all I'm saying is, let me work on a draft, and
Yeah.
nothing's gonna go
That's
unless
fine.
we all
By all
vote on it. I'm not
Yeah.
standing up at town meeting by myself, I've already been there and done that.
No,
So more discussion in July.
more to
Right.
come.
Okay,
Final note,
yes.
next meeting
Minutes.
is not, yeah, okay, we'll do minutes. I thought we didn't have any, actually.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, I said here.
How come I don't have
April
any?
11th,
You gave them all away.
I gave them away, I'm gonna need my packet
that
back.
is an
I
11th,
didn't see
right?
it in this packet.
No?
No.
Well, I'll come to the office and I'll give you a replacement.
I'll go with
Oh,
what
no
Joe
worries,
said.
no worries about it.
11th.
Okay, thank
As
you.
long as
Joe,
Joe
did you
approves of
review
the
it?
minutes.
Yes,
Okay,
So,
make a motion that we approve the minutes for the Conservation Commission meeting of April 11th, 2023, as written.
as you,
Second.
all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Next meeting will not be 2 weeks from now.
July 11th.
July 11th will be our next,
And it'll be at the police
and
station.
back at the police station, okay? So far, we don't, the reason is we don't have any requests for hearings or anything for that matter, and Lori's going to be away, so we figured it would be just a good time to give everybody some time off.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I kind of cut you off, but was that what you were going to say was about the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I have one new business, one old business.
Oh,
Old business, Cowboy Shack, any update? Where-
I haven't heard, to be honest.
Okay.
Who'd you ask?
Well,
Paul in accounting, that's who Nate is dealing with.
okay, for the-
But
All the
Did they approve it for payment?
facilities manager people?
Oh, we have a facilities manager?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's great.
I will, let's see what the status is. It's not like we're paying them back for services. We're talking about funds to finish the work,
Right.
right? So I think that's the reason why it's kind of on the back burner.
Oh, I thought from the list it was some of the stuff had already been
A
done.
lot of it has been
Yeah.
done for free.
Yeah, a lot of it was donated.
He's amazing. If he
Yeah,
had
but
all that up.
The bill
Well,
he
you saw the
gave,
list he gave us, it just was, what, 2.5 pages?
yeah, but most of that, I understood from him that was paid. He's looking for new material.
Right.
Yeah, I think he's
Okay.
anxious to get it finished.
To get it started, so I'll follow up on it.
Okay.
And
So-
one new thing was,
What was your paved?
okay, I mean, it's just, this book, I have put the
How come
copy
you didn't get us
of the
books?
inside right up on the book itself, the introduction to the book. And when I finish it, I'll get you some bullet points. It's just amazing to me when this popped up. My first thought was, this is all so many of our regulatory agencies in town.
stormwater management?
Stormwater management, transportation, sidewalks, paving, driveways, parking lots. It's amazing, whether it's planning board or zoning board of appeals or conservation commission, where they're going to tar.
Oh, people design their houses around garages.
Around the garages, absolutely. And parking, so everyone's got, multiple cars now and
Oh,
just,
my dream is an 8-car garage and a little one-bedroom
Worry about that
apartment.
back?
Probably.
you laugh, but
I could be happy there.
I built my 4-car garage before I built the house. I bought stuff first.
I didn't think you could do that.
I had some discussion with the town about that, as a matter of fact. They thought I was putting in a commercial building. I said, no.
Is that all there is, 4 bays in that?
For that one, but 2 in the other new one.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
And then my wife keeps saying, you're not gonna build any more garages. I might. Anyway, I'll get you some
Maybe
more
a-
information on this.
Maybe a large shed.
Just a large shed.
very large.
All
Do you
right,
have anything else?
motion to adjourn?
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye. Beat you to
Motion
it.
carries.
Yep.
Is that everything to do with?